And here we are, the People's Pod.
The People's Pod with the new jingle.
Yeah, thank you to Curtis for that. We're always trying to innovate on the People's Pod, and this is just this week's innovation.
Yeah, with the potential for more.
That's right. Stay tuned. We're always going to keep you all on your toes. But anyway, so NFL Week 2 is in the books. Crazy week. A lot happened, both in our league and in the league. A lot of injuries going on, of course. But before we dive into all of that, quick life update. So some of you may have seen I was the officiant for my dad's wedding this past weekend. Nice, short and sweet, beautiful ceremony in La Jolla, California.
Curtis and I tuned in.
Yeah, that was great to see the you guys streaming that above the football game.
And it was super fun for us to watch the Zoom chaos after the ceremony had ended. Your dad was trying to talk to people like, "Hey, Bob, thanks for joining." Everybody was competing for airtime. That shit was super funny.
Yeah, so Chelsea actually, she manned the Zoom the entire time because all these people that were trying to figure it out pre-wedding could not, and she just kind of stepped in and took over. And then afterwards, she tried to wrangle my dad and Carolina, his new wife, to say goodbye to everybody. So my Chelsea was like, "Go say something, talk to the people."
Yeah, what an interesting. How was that? Well, how many people were there?
There were like less than 20, mostly family, like large majority family. So my brother obviously was there. Chelsea was there. Both my dad's sisters, so my aunts, my grandmother on his side, an uncle, and then a number of cousins and their significant others.
So mostly his peeps.
Yeah, mostly his peeps. There were 3 friends of hers, so a lot of her family lives internationally, which is why they did Zoom in the first place, because her family just could not attend, right? And of COVID, of course. But there were a few of her friends. One was the other witness, and they had a day with her, and they brought her to the venue. And so yeah, it all worked out great. But the subtext of all this is now I'm an ordained minister, so I can perform marriage ceremonies akin to Dan Bellinger did for Evan's wedding.
Yeah, for cheap. Actually, would you sell your service? What's your going rate? A nice bottle of whiskey?
Depends who's asking.
Yeah.
Like Adam, nice bottle of whiskey is fine. Stu, $500.
I was gonna say a couple grand at least.
Not only will I look dapper, but really, I'm a wordsmith.
And so many Tuesday night Dargan's tales.
Oh, that's right.
With everybody. I know Stu back from the Dargan karaoke nights.
Oh, so get this. One time, he thought he could beat me in a Marvin Gaye off. Well, that didn't go very well for Stu.
What was he thinking?
When he tells it, it's pretty fun because, so I sang Sexual Healing, he sang Get It On, and the karaoke version that he sang had a bunch of oohs and ahs, and so instead of singing like the "Let's get it on, oh yeah babe, let's get it on, let love baby," it was more like "Let's get it on, ooh, ah." So it kind of took him by surprise. So the version that he was handed didn't do him any favors.
Just grunting into the microphone.
Yep.
Ooh. That's some top-notch karaoke.
How was your weekend aside from football?
Weekend was great. I got to see my brother and soon-to-be sister-in-law on Saturday. They all got COVID, so it was just like I was able to hug them.
Oh, because now they're superhumans?
COVID, yeah, a while ago. So now they're just like free sailing for a couple months. So I hugged my brother for the first time in ages. And so that was pretty cool. Did a nice beach day. And then football Sunday was a great day. Me and Kurt were here the whole day. Brad was in and out. The carnage that happened Sunday morning, that was kind of crazy, The Niners, they won the battle, but may have lost the war.
Right, at what cost?
At what cost?
At what cost?
And we're going back to that field again, so that's super exciting.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what's going to happen. I know you had mentioned that the Niners filed a complaint to the NFL about the surface, and so I'm curious, like, what is like turnaround time to resod or resurface the field? Right.
When you have millions and millions and millions of dollars at your disposal, it feels like it should be something that could be done quite easily.
Sure.
But you never know.
Yeah.
Especially these cheap fucks.
Yeah. So, talking about the Niners' injuries, Garoppolo is week to week. Same with Mostert, Bosa, and Thomas are done. Tevin Coleman is also week to week. Like, how are you feeling as a fan? What's your like panic gauge right now?
Panicked. Yeah. We went from being Super Bowl contenders to now just above average, I would say, especially with the West being as tough as it is.
Right.
The Cardinals are looking great. Seahawks are always super annoying. Rams can fuck off, but they can also fuck on. And so,
dude, they're 2-0.
Yeah,
they're 2-0. Cardinals are 1-1. Wait, yeah, the Cardinals are 1-1, right? No, they're 2-0 as well. They beat the Niners and then they just beat the football team.
Everybody's 2-0 except for the Niners. Sick.
Wow.
So I think that the Niners may miss the playoffs completely.
Dude, there's nothing worse than a 8-8 or 7-9 season. It's like you're not going to the playoffs. You're not doing well in draft position.
Yeah, it's not fun to watch.
It's not fun.
That's probably the saddest thing is like George Kittle got injured week 1.
Kittle as well. That's right.
Mm-hmm. He's so fun to watch. Nick Bosa, he's injured. So fun to watch. D Ford also dealing with injuries. It's just like all these players that you love to watch are now gone, and fans everywhere are gonna have to deal with it now, right? Like Christian McCaffrey out. Like the light on that team is just gone. Saquad's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I was a Giants fan, I'm just probably gonna hate watching Giants games for the rest of the season. So yeah, we won the battle, but really sad loss. Took the L in my book.
The silver lining for this is that Giants are not very good, and so you guys probably could do the same thing you did with the Jets, where you have a bunch of second stringers in there and get the W, and let those guys who are still able to play nurse their wounds a little bit.
Yeah, certainly.
I was listening to that ESPN fantasy podcast today that was recorded yesterday before Monday Night Football, and they were talking about how Nick Mullins is a gamer.
Yeah.
How teams wanted him in the offseason. The Niners wouldn't let him go.
Yeah, he's a baller. I mean, let's see. Did Kittle have his legendary season with Nick Mullins? Oh, my memory's fading. But, yeah, he's a gamer. He's better than Duck Hodges, that's for sure, as far as backup quarterbacks go.
Okay, well, you want to dive into the picks from this past week?
Yikes, yeah.
So, just to go through the 3 podcasters and their records of this past week, I went 3-3. Weaver went 2-4, highlighted by the incorrect Brad and Bacon pick. And Stu actually went 4-2. So, good week for Stu on the picks. But to just dive into them, first off, we can visit my matchup. So, both myself and Weave, actually everyone, all 3 of us picked Max to take this one. And he did not. Max had a great week, though. I mean, almost put up 130, highlighted by Russell Wilson going off. McLaurin had a big day. Mike Evans. James Conner, surprise. So he was someone that seemed very questionable, and everyone was putting in a bid for Benny Snell to play in the flex.
Huge play.
Max won in with the $42, but ended up staying on the bench because Connor was going to play, and Snell actually put up negative points.
Yeah, that's insane. That was a great manager move to bench him, but you also hate to see it. That you spend 42% of your budget only to never play that player.
Yeah, how do you... If you're Max, what are you thinking right now? Because Stu had made an interesting comment on his podcast last week where he said that initially Stu thought it was a astronomical amount to pay, but in reality, Max is hedging his bets. Where if James Conner were to miss extended time, he automatically has that backup. But conversely, Max did spend $42 just to keep somebody on his bench. The guy he drafted ended up not missing time and performing really well. So, I mean, you're happy that your running back is producing, but you're sad that now, 42% of your budget is gone.
Yeah, it certainly would have been better if he had spent his last pick in the draft on the handcuff, right? That's kind of, then you have your full budget and you still are benching this player. You hate to have handcuffs. I'm the king of handcuffs, and it's just, I always feel terrible. I'm just literally waiting for somebody to die in order for my team to be good.
Right. Going into the draft, I had heard some analysts say not to draft your own handcuffs. Just like not to draft handcuffs. Trippy. Or at least your own handcuffs. And I really resonated with that because it's a crapshoot. I mean, fantasy is a crapshoot, but it is like you're burning bench spots on those handcuffs. Wherein like Cam Newton was out there, like the 11th round or whatever, but you're concerned about drafting one of your backups and maybe you're missing out on a player that's going to like take your team to the next level.
Almost certainly in the 12th round.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of what ifs, but I didn't draft any of my handcuffs on purpose. But going on my side, so this week my team produced as I would have dreamed it to, right? This is the team that I thought I drafted. Last week I was a little banged up, right? Cooks didn't produce, although he was on my bench. Parker got injured. Sanders didn't play. So last week I definitely was hurting and kind of freaking out. But this week the team produced amazingly, right? We talked about how Josh Allen was going up against the Dolphins, so I thought he was going to do really well. But just going down the list, like everyone produced. You got 2 touchdown Ridley, who I'm really thankful again. Thank you, Pebbles, for not accepting that trade. Tyler Boyd, who I was freaking out about, he scored. Joe Mixon actually had a down week. Side note, Max was saying, that's a pretty good week for Mixon, but not for Edwards-Helaire. Well, guess who scored more fantasy points this week, Max? Mixon. Got him. Anyway, Miles Sanders, he fumbles in their first Eagles drive and then turns around and ends up with 18 points. Hayden Hurst scores. Koo had 17 points in that shootout that we had predicted. Man, the fucking Falcons, I just coughed that up.
They know how to cough up a lead. It's insane.
I guess no defense.
No defense. They just can't produce on offense anymore when it matters most. Like, what? What is happening with that team?
Did you see the end of that game at all? So I bring it up because I didn't watch all the way through, but I saw highlights, and the Cowboys scored, and then they did an onside kick, and then the ball just dribbled past like all these Falcons players, and the Cowboys jumped on it, and then they went and won.
Huge brain fart. I think Bill Belichick always says special teams wins games.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how you're on the hands team. You have one job. Either get the ball or block somebody. And they just sat and watched the ball. They didn't even block.
Do you know what the penalty is if you grab the ball before the 10 yards?
For the Cowboys, there's a penalty.
For the Falcons?
No penalty.
Oh, then yeah, what the fuck are they doing? Just get the ball.
The risk is if they touch it and
they don't grab it,
then the Cowboys can snag it, right? Then it's effectively a fumble. But they needed to just all dogpile it simultaneously. Boom, just fall on the rock, game over. Yeah. And that game was actually super weird too, because the Falcons' defense got like 4 turnovers in the first half. And so they were really doing well because
they were up by 20 points at one point.
Yeah, their offense kept getting the ball on the opponent side of the field. It's hard to lose when you have that going on, but they found a way.
Yeah. We'll get to this later, but I want to shout out O'Malley for the Russell Gage pickup. He again had a phenomenal game, and Julio actually took a back seat. Julio looks a little bit slow to me. Yeah. But anyway, good pick by O'Malley. This matchup goes to Gall, and I get the money. So, hell yeah, Black. Okay. Next, let's go. Let's see, who do I talk about? We'll do.
Pebbles versus Stu.
Yeah, Pebs versus Stu. SB Charkin Ranch. This is a good name, I must admit. Pebbles naming himself Kyler Murray. Doesn't really do it for me. But you want to take the lead on this one?
I also agree. Kyler Murray, not a great name. Your other name was phenomenal. It's a shame for you to move away, but I guess you are just saying that Kyler Murray is your team now. You had some really bad luck, obviously, with Saquon going down. I really was hoping that you pulled this out. I guess basically I'm cheering against Stu in every single matchup. Christian McCaffrey got hurt, but not soon enough.
After scoring a touchdown.
Yeah, and then Waller obviously went off. Everybody knows the storyline there. 47% of the target share, where the fuck it is. Yeah, was hoping Pebbles could steal a victory here. It's frustrating when it just doesn't work out.
So we both picked Stu to win this one.
Yeah.
And Stu picked himself to win this one too. So everyone was counting Pebs out to begin with. Let's see. Allen Robinson has a subpar game for Stu. That was someone who we were looking at last week to monitor. Gurley, again, a very pedestrian game. In a game that the Falcons were up 20-0 at one point. Still can only muster a little over 6 points. However, Robinson on the Jaguars, we also talked about him and how Pebbles had a great pickup. He goes for over 100 yards rushing with a touchdown and then has some receiving yards on top of it. It's looking like a diamond in the rough. And someone who I think could still bring Pebbles' team to the playoffs potentially, right? He's 0-2 right now. But losing Barkley is not the end of the world. That's what I'm saying. With that Robinson pickup, he's obviously getting work there. So it's not over yet, Pebbles. Hang in there, bud.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think your team is over by any long shot, especially if you make a couple more key injuries come along, you make some key free agent pickups, waiver wire pickups, I think you'll be fine. Like, James Robinson made your team super elite. Now your team is just good. Borderline great. Keenan Allen and Cooper Kupp, those are some solid receivers. And N'Keal Harry, who knows what's going on there. But yeah, you're no way you're out, especially with Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it is so early, week 2, right? There's still 15 more weeks of the season for us. A lot more injuries are gonna happen.
Yeah,
right.
Football's so random.
Yeah, I'm a team that hasn't suffered one of those crazy injuries yet, so I'm kind of like waiting for that hammer to hit.
Knock on wood.
But yeah, so Stu takes that one over Pebbles, and the 3 podcasters all picked that as such.
One note on that matchup was Darren Waller scoring 22 points. I'm curious what the threshold is for tight ends. Like, when your tight end scores 20 points or more, what's the winning record of that team?
Interesting.
Because tight ends can be such a crapshoot, right? Like, if you get 5 points, you're like, blah, but, that's tight end for you. Yeah, but when a tight end puts up crazy stats like that, I wonder what that would be. Some fun podcast math to try to figure out.
That would be a deep dive.
Yeah, teams with tight ends that score 20 points or more are 40-0.
But that's a good stat, and I would extend that to the kicker and the defensive position too. I think like one of my goals, and I'm sure this is not unique to myself, but I love the weeks where I have those positions score in the double digits.
Oh,
because it's like a bonus. It seems just like a bonus, like throwaway. And Brad always makes fun of me for like spending money on the waiver wire for kicker pickups. But if they have like a good matchup and I can get double digits out of that position, like why not?
It's a win.
It's just like any other position player getting double digits.
Anytime that you can win an individual matchup, you set your team up for success, right?
Yeah.
That's the isn't that from I Bleed Black? Win your individual matchup. That's what we're trying to do here, yeah. With kickers, with tight ends, with defense.
So next, we're going to go to the matchup of the week, or so we thought beforehand. Men's Zerling versus Jarvis You There. Bacon. Both these teams had a phenomenal week one. And this was the only matchup that you and I deferred on our picks. Mm-hmm. And we levied a bet on top of it. Deferred? And we deferred.
We deferred?
Yeah, we deferred.
Sounded like you said we deferred our choices.
In any case,
I
deferred my pick to you. No, but I think Bacon deferred the victory in this one.
Fucking Bacon.
So on the last podcast, we talked about how we had hoped this would come down to Monday night and Emmanuel Sanders versus Kamara. But when that came, Bacon was already down by a margin of almost I think it was more than that.
30-something.
And then Sanders goes and puts up 2.3 points, where Kamara puts up 33.9. Really just like the emphatic icing on the cake in this matchup.
Yeah.
But let's go through Bacon's team, starting Brady getting less than 10. When your team puts up 31 points, but your quarterback, or if you're Brady, your team is putting up 31, but you yourself, what you're doing? 217 pass yards, 1 passing touchdown, 1 interception. I mean, that's like, I guess it's a classic football versus fantasy football, right? He did enough to win.
Yeah, it's like a Teddy Bridgewater stat line.
Right.
Tyrod Taylor.
That's exactly what I was going to say, like Tyrod. Fournette came out as a big beneficiary in this game. Earlier than I thought, and we had talked about it last week, Ronald Jones versus Fournette and how quickly that handoff would be.
Another great move by Maxwell.
Yeah, on the bench this past week, thankfully. Thielen not doing anything for Bacon. Tyreek Hill had that nuts touchdown grab at the end of the Chargers collapse in that game. Henry getting 84 yards, but not finding the end zone when the Titans score 33. So that's definitely disheartening if you're Baco.
Yeah, he really needs to start the engines. He's getting like ridiculous carry attempts, right? Like I think he had 30.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, 31 against Denver, and then 25 this past weekend against Jacksonville.
That's brutal. He's barely averaging over 3 yards a carry.
Yeah, this is the guy that people were worried about when they had a little bit of wariness going into the draft, taking Henry with one of those top 5, top 6 picks. Obviously, he was a behemoth at tail end of last season, but for the start of last season, this was him. So when is he going to show up?
Apparently, he's doing whatever needs to be done because the Tennessee Titans are 2-0.
That's true. Again, it's like football versus fantasy.
He just hasn't broken one of those 80-yard touchdowns yet.
Trucking multiple people.
Yeah. Ryan Tannehill's probably profiting because they're loading the box against Derrick Henry's 25 attempts.
Tannehill is on the waiver wire, and he threw 4 touchdowns, I'm pretty sure, yesterday. So I don't think he'll be on the wire
It's one of those names that you don't want to see on your team, yet somehow he produces.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Woods has been that way for me for years. This guy, who is he? Joe Schmo. Man. But somehow he puts up numbers each week.
You know how Stu likes to call himself a Malcolm Brown hipster? I want to call myself a Robert Woods hipster because back when he was on the Bills, I was targeting that guy and owning him. Bacon's team this past weekend, I mean, you got a lot of single-digit scores. Justin Tucker, though, puts up 16. Maybe Bacon's got to go back to Justin. But on the other side of the coin, Brad's team again puts up a fat number, a second highest score of the league this week, and that's with Will Fuller putting up a goose egg.
At this point, are you pushing the panic button on Brad's receivers?
T.Y.
Hilton hasn't
T.Y. and Fuller, I definitely am a little bit. John Brown has produced in back-to-back weeks. He's got some good chemistry with Josh Allen. Josh Allen's playing well. I know we were talking today that Allen's played the Jets and the Dolphins, so his opponents haven't been that crazy. But last year, they both produced throughout the entire season, and so I think John Brown is going to be a consistent contributor. Brad's got Godwin on the bench who missed this game.
Ah, yes.
So I wouldn't say I'm super panicked if I'm him because he can slot him in once he's back healthy. But I
How
know.
long do you ride the T.Y. Hilton train?
Let's see his targets. He had 9 targets in week 1 before. Yeah, I think if I'm Brad, I don't start him this week and then see what happens. They're playing the Jets, though.
And they did lose Paris Campbell.
So we'll get to this guy later on, but I think Michael Pittman is going to be the biggest beneficiary of that.
Certainly.
That's a good question. I think that's something we can keep track of as the season progresses, is if T.Y. Hilton does produce or not. He was someone going into the draft that I was very wary about because of his injury history and his age.
He was on my do not draft list for sure. Bad back last season, super old, brand new quarterback, no preseason.
Yep.
No, thank you. Check down Rivers.
King Phil got the W for them. But anyway, even with T.Y. Hilton and Fuller doing next to nothing, Brad's team still put up 142 points.
Mm-hmm. Kelsey, 19 points.
Dude, yeah, that's. I mean, Kelsey is winning the Kelsey Kittle battle up to this point. I know Kittle was on the field this past Sunday, but
it's triggering.
There will be some numbers, and this is even with Williams on Miami only putting up 5 for him too. I mean, Kamara just fucking went off, right? 2 rushing touchdowns, 79 rushing yards, and then 95 receiving yards.
That's what you expect out of a first-round pick.
For sure, and I think he has been the biggest beneficiary of Michael Thomas going down. I know Traquan Smith had an increase in targets and catches, but we were talking about Emmanuel Sanders getting more looks, and he obviously did not. Kamara really benefited. Mostert went down, so that's of note for Brad. He's doubtful for this next weekend, as we touched on earlier, but Brad has McKinnon on his bench ready to slot in there. So I don't think Brad's team is going to miss a beat, but I do like your question about his wide receivers. The Fuller injury question is definitely something to watch. Because again, that was like the question mark for him. We even talked about it. If he can play 16 games, he's a high pick. But he's missed half of the games this season so far. So
yeah, and luckily for Brad, he's got time for is it DeAndre Swift for the Lions to learn the system, take over that backfield because it's ripe for the taking. So. If I'm Brad, I'm stoked on that just to be able to sit for a long while and let the rookie develop.
Yeah, and the Lions they've lost their last 2 games. They are only 2 games, so how long is it going to be before they start giving rookies longer looks?
Yeah.
So both myself and Stu had picked Brad to win in this matchup. You had picked Bacon.
Yeah, it was the underdog story. I knew that Bacon was should have got odds on the bucket size, probably.
The next bucket bet will have a little more fine print, is what Evan's saying. But so moving on to the Evan and O'Malley matchup. Now this is something that we were kind of chuckling last pod because O'Malley's team was looking lackluster, but he put up 130 in this losing effort. I think all 3 of us picked against him. But like we talked about Evan last week, putting up a lot of points in a loss is what you want to do. So even though O'Malley's sitting at 0-2 right now, 130 is going to help later on. But going through his team, Stafford puts up 16 for a second week in a row. O'Malley's team, maybe he wants to look into a quarterback. Maybe there's one on the trading block that is consistently produced in these 2 games.
Probably Jared Goff on Bacon's team.
Yes. Goff is who O'Malley should be targeting. That'll put his team over the edge from 11th to 9th, probably. Hopkins, another big game. Not as many receptions, but he gets in the end zone. Beckham also scores. So I know we were all joking around about Beckham last week and, what the deal was in Cleveland. Now they're playing the Bengals, who are not good. So I'm sure that elevated Beckham's opportunity in this game. But 16 points out of Odell Beckham is what you want. So that's good. Gage, again, I want to laud O'Malley for this pick. Matt Ryan's just slanging the rock. The Falcons are going to be down in every game. Every game is going to be just like the one yesterday where Matt Ryan's going to throw for like 350 to 400 yards.
That's my guy. Yeah.
That's a good fantasy quarterback.
They have some elite weapons. 3 fantasy relevant wide receivers and a tight end.
Yeah.
They can all flourish under this system.
Yeah, it seems like 3 out of those 4 guys each week will flourish. Like week 1, it was the receivers. Sunday, it was Ridley, Gage, and Hurst, and Julio's one that missed out, although he just missed that long touchdown.
Yeah. O'Malley's got to be stoked to get 8 points out of Cortland Sutton before,
Carlos
before destroying his knee. That's a super bummer. Let's see what you got. Justin Jefferson and McCole Hardman. Jameson Crowder injured. That kind of sucks. Are questionable with a hamstring injury. Those things linger forever. Hopefully he comes back sooner than later. But yeah, it looks like O'Malley's going to be active on the waiver wire this week as well. Find that flex spot.
Yeah, well, it definitely paid off for him to be active this past week. Putting up 130. I think everyone would be happy to put up 130.
Yeah.
So that's a good week from O'Malley. 3 points out of Seattle defense is not what you want, but sometimes that happens. You still got double digits out of Butker. And yeah, overall good week. On Evan's side, Mahomes does Mahomes things. Last week we talked about how Mahomes putting up 20 points is a disappointment. If you invest in him, 28 I think is more of what you're looking for. Cooper has 100 receiving yards on 6 receptions. That's a good day. Although his next 2 receivers, Slayton and Miller, took a step back. I mean, Slayton scored multiple touchdowns on week 1. And then Miller was looking to get some increased play from Tom Brady because Evans was nursing an injury and Godwin was out. But Miller's usage actually went down. Yeah, so maybe that's someone who ends up on the waiver wire again.
I think he actually got hurt as well in that game. I know it doesn't say Q right now, but I think he messed up his shoulder in the game. So luckily, Evan is sitting on Robbie Anderson and Julian Edelman, so he is not hurting for Miller replacement.
Yeah, curious that Anderson was on Evan's bench this week, seeing as he produced in a big way in week 1. I wonder what the thought process was that went into that.
Tampa Bay is supposedly an elite defense, and they actually, I think, were in terms of fantasy points this past week.
True.
To the U collusion.
We'll get on that later. But both Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore put up double-digit points in this game. And you got to think the Panthers are going to be behind in the majority, if not all of their games. And so they're going to be throwing. They're going to be throwing those checkdowns from Bridgewater. This is the Chubster that we knew he was. 2 rushing touchdowns, 124 rush yards. This is a first-round pick. And then, man, Aaron Jones. Holy shit.
You love to see that. He was wearing those like wrestler glasses. They're super shiny gold.
Oh yeah.
Every time he went back to the sideline, he was wearing. Forget who. Oh yeah.
Just feeling himself.
He was just full of swagger the whole time. It's great. You love to see that out of him. Was that his 2nd round pick? Yeah, I think he took Chubb first, Aaron Jones second. Regardless, you love to have a solid anchor.
Yeah, that was a 12-13, the wraparound.
Brilliant.
Chubb and then Jones. Yeah, and then Mahomes 3rd round.
I've been slurping this team the whole time, and I still am. I wish that we could trade teams.
Yeah, Evan's looking good. Let's see. So over here, yeah, we all picked against O'Malley. Will that trend continue? Stay tuned. to later on.
O'Malley's also not a lost cause.
Yeah, he putting up 130. That's a good week. That's just a classic hang with him. There's the pebbles of the league where eventually you'll play him. But next, we get Diamond Bill versus our boy Weave Dog here. So why don't you give us the live look into your matchup here?
Yeah, we actually got fan mail about feedback on this, where we both chose me to win, and user Diamond Bill wrote us a message just talking mad shit. Like, how can you bet against Diamond Bill? After all, this was a tough L to take. 129 points in a loss. We're just talking about O'Malley put up 130.
Yep.
You hate to put up points and lose. Paris Campbell getting carted off is really sad for me. He was looking like he had some serious potential with King Phil. Another thing that went against me was Dak Prescott just vulturing 3 rushing touchdowns from the 1-yard line from Zeke.
Yeah, damn.
He had 2 touchdowns reversed upon review, and that just is soul sucking. So that's annoying. That happens in every game. Player of concern for me is Frodo Dobbins. He only got the ball 4 times, or 2 times.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one of those 2 times he busted for a 44-yard. Yeah, thankfully. I was expecting him to get goal line work, but he didn't. So that's murkier for me and a little bit sketchy. So there's a possibility that your boy is going to be active on the waiver wires.
I was just going to say, your bench is not looking that great. I mean, Bruggs, who we thought looked promising, has 1 reception. Beyond that, I mean, that's just a pretty weak bench. I mean, really, of course, Kittle is there, and, you hope to get him back at some point. But, I mean,
the Kittle pick is going to haunt me every single week.
He doesn't play.
Yeah. It's Kittle versus Chris Carson. And once again, Chris Carson had a great week. So
yep.
I'm shook every time I see that. And actually, when I was reviewing some of the historical data, some of the historical drafts, the last time that I did really poorly, besides my sackership, is when I drafted Gronk third round.
Oh,
and so
that's
there's
the early
a trend
tight end
for me when I draft tight ends early. It just doesn't go well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really hoping he comes back healthy and just reigns supreme. But it's not feeling like it.
Jordan Reed's looking good.
Jordan Reed's looking great. The problem is he gets hit 1 time.
Right, for sure.
Then
he's a ticking time bomb.
Dead. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if anybody's interested in Kittle, maybe some of you more comfortable teams, he's on the block.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Weaver's ready to trade his boy.
You hate to trade a 2nd-round pick.
You hate to trade it.
But moves have to be made, and I'm not feeling comfortable despite putting up 129.
Right, yeah, you're in an unenviable spot here. Seeing as you got some people injured, and then your bench is very lackluster and injured.
Yeah, I took a gamble. The injury apocalypse. I was hoping one of my handcuffs would hit this week. Not my own handcuff, obviously, but
yeah.
I had Darrell Williams and Jamal Williams. Hoping that something would happen maybe to the Prince of Bel-Air or Aaron Jones. And instead, actually, Darrell Williams got hurt, so he cut.
Yeah. So just getting back to the picks from the podcasters, both you and I had you beating Diamond Bill, which is why the fan mail came in. Stu picked Bill over you, and so that was the pick that he differentiated himself between us, and that's why I went 4-2.
One thing that was super surprising for Bill's team was Nyheim Hines, hindsight, scoring 0.9 points, 1 reception for 4 yards. That is something that we did not anticipate.
Right.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas
just took it and it went on.
Yeah, that shit is crazy. Nyheim Hines is somebody that I was targeting in the draft, specifically because of check down Philly Rev.
Right. Well, the Colts were in control of that game, And so I can see in games that are closer or they're coming from behind that Hines will get some more work as he's the pass catching back.
It's your worst nightmare trying to
guess
if they're going to be behind or not.
Yeah. Side note, Diamond Bill's new team name. Fucking love it. Jacks on, jacks off. I LOL'd.
It's better than what's on, what's off.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Stupid.
So the last matchup of this past week, we have Dak Prescott versus Rent Tent Wentz. Now, we all picked Adam over Scott, and we all got it wrong. Scott had a great week, beat his projection by a lot. Again, partially because Prescott stole those touchdowns from Zeke.
Oh, yeah.
But also, we talked about Jonathan Taylor Thomas getting all the work. Kareem Hunt, both Hunt and Chubb produced in a big way against the Bengals. Hunt put up 23 points, is huge. And then CeeDee Lamb, 106 yards on 6 receptions and a little rush in there. In the Cowboys offense, if we're looking at the pecking order of wide receivers, I always thought that Lamb would be the third guy behind Cooper and Gallup, but it looks like Lamb may have eclipsed Gallup in that pecking order.
Yeah, Gallup's out. I'm out on Gallup as well.
That's one for Diamond Bill. But yeah, this is a big week for Scott. And then Adam, woof, right? This sucks. Wentz, second straight week underperforming. Now, Adam did pick up Big Ben. Stayed on his bench this week, which I understand. I subscribe to the same mindset where you may want to keep someone on the bench for 1 week just to see how they do. And I have seen that next week, Adam has put Big Ben in there. So maybe Adam has seen enough from his namesake to want to make a change. Although, let's see who the Eagles playing next. Cincinnati. Ooh, that's actually
juicy.
Very interesting if Adam does stay away from Wentz in that juicy matchup. But injury bug did strike this team. That's very true. Devontae Adams went down, although his injury is not as severe as others that we've seen.
So they say. Right.
But
Josh Jacobs looked a little shook as well.
Yeah, after scoring those 3 touchdowns, the Raiders win by 10 points. Jacobs doesn't find the end zone. Yeah, just a lot of underperformances from Adams' team. I mean, Cook finds the end zone, but only has 13 yards on 2 receptions. Brown from Baltimore puts up a little under 7 points.
AJ Green, 13 targets,
3 receptions. Someone else is looking kind of old.
Well, I don't think he's looking old. I saw a tweet saying that of all of his targets, less than half of them have been considered catchable. So, he's actually doing really well for what has been catchable. So he's just kind of getting the Baker Mayfield treatment for Brodell.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
A lot of looks his way, but inaccuracy with the young QB.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he remains in Adam's lineup or not, because Adam currently isn't that deep at receiver. I mean, he does have Judge Judy, one of the best route runners in the league, on his bench. But beyond that,
Judge Judy, who now has Jeff Driscoll throwing.
That's true. Wow, that we'll see what happens with that Broncos offense. Did see Noah Fant go off again.
Noah Fant is now the number 1 pass catcher in Denver.
He's the guy. Here's something that you hate to love to see. Is Adam getting double digits out of both his kicker and defense, then taking the L.
Yeah. Sub 100 when your kicker and defense put up 25. That's tough.
That's a bad week. So yeah, Scott takes the emphatic W. We all picked against him. So sorry for hating, Scott. You deserve that dub. But okay, so that was last week's picks. Again, I went 3-3, so that gives me a 6-6 record overall in the season. Weave went 2-4, which is his record on the season, as not submitting his picks last week.
Mm-hmm.
And Stu went 4-2. I did not check how he did last week. Do you remember?
No, but actually, he has the
The pick tracker.
The pick tracker, yeah. I'm actually super on board to start using that. I'll submit my picks this week.
Yeah, I think I did submit my picks during that as well. But I got a spreadsheet. I'm going to keep it all in there, for the number
meme.
crunching.
Yeah.
The meme.
The meme. The paper plate meme. Oh, we're in it. 45 minutes. Whew. We gotta go quick. I'm going to grab my picks.
All right, so moving on. Fun facts for this week. So we touched on it a little bit earlier. Waller on the Raiders has a 30% target share through the first 2 weeks. That I found on Twitter via Mike Clay. So 38% is a lot. If you're Stu, you're feeling pretty good that Waller and Carr had that connection. You got to think he's going to keep producing.
Stu's stoked on his team.
Yeah, Stu's 2-0. He's feeling good. Projections met this past week. As I'm keeping track, 7 out of the 12 of us did it. Bill, Brad, myself, Evan, Omal, Scott, and Weave. We all met our projections.
Damn it.
Are you the only one to lose in that group?
Yeah.
Bill won, Brad won, I won, Evan won. Yeah, wow. Met your projections and lost.
Tough.
Something else that I found as a fun fact, I think Evan's the one that brought it up, that this might have been one of the highest scoring weeks in the history of Frisbee touchdown. So I saw a tweet that said that on Sunday, the average points per game was 50.1. Actually, for this whole year, the average is 50.1, which is the highest through 2 weeks since 1970. So in terms of fantasy, it's going to be big scores all around for everybody. And then just to touch briefly on the fan mail from Diamond Bill. We already talked about it a little bit, but basically he said, he's a longtime fan, just wanted to know where the respect was. So now we can put some respect on Diamond Bill's name. And maybe some people will pick you to win this week, Bill. We'll see.
Yeah, we love you, Bill. Thanks for the mail. Keep it coming. We sent you a hoodie, People's Pod hoodie, so you can expect.
Yeah, you're really going to like it. Do you want to talk about your picks from last week or the next week?
I'm ready to move on to next week.
We'll do it at the end.
At the end.
Moving forward, things you hate to love to see. So the first one I put on this was Stu rage quitting the group me after the heated shotgun debate.
Yeah.
So just to clear the air, and what I did send Stu was I was not contesting that Stu lost the bet when the stat correction happened. Obviously, it's very obvious who lost the bet. Bacon. What I was saying was there were a number of days where Stu had thought he lost the bet but didn't pay up.
Yep.
And so if the roles were reversed, as in Bacon lost on the Monday night, Stu would have reminded Bacon continuously to pay up on that debt.
Oh, yeah.
So pretty funny that Stu rage quit after that. Basically all I was saying was you would have hounded everybody else in the league, but now that it's you wait till Friday to do it. But definitely kudos to you for shotgunning anyway. That was really great.
It had to be done. Both players had to shotgun. The fans got a thrill. Everybody got the good outcome. It was nice. Yeah. Stu and Bacon have a weird timeline with delivering on debts.
Bacon's takes years.
Years. Yeah, years.
Oh, the hype video was great. We loved it.
I'm with O'Malley. I haven't been able to watch it because I couldn't open it on my phone.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we'll watch it later. It's great. It's great. So next thing, things you hate to love to see, the Bryan Edwards saga that I've gone through. So someone in the draft going into, I was targeting him. He had a huge hype. Week 1, he doesn't do much. I really didn't want to let him go, but I was worried about the running back situation, so I had to let him go. Actually, I think I picked up Keenan Cole when I did drop him, which has someone who has produced surprisingly well for me on my bench. But anyway, I wanted to believe. I want to believe in Bryan Edwards. And so when Duke Johnson finally got that super late out on Sunday, super late, Bryan Edwards was still out there. So, as any savvy manager would do, put him in your IR slot and then pick up someone for free to see how he would do. I scrolled through my watch list. Bryan Edwards was on there, and I was like, you know what? I'll give him another look, long look.
Might as well. Ruggs was hurt.
Yep. Yep.
He's the guy that you had your eye on. Fuck it. Give him another week.
And although he produced more than he did in week 1, it still was a very mediocre, like 5.5 points or so. And now that my team is baller as fuck, it's not going to cut it. So he's going to be on the waiver wire to stay. At least I won't picking him up.
I do have a bone to pick with Yahoo over like a player should remain out until cleared to come back instead of resetting until they're declared out again. It's super fucked. Like, I'm dealing with Philip Lindsay right now. He has turf toe. He's going to be out 2 to 4 weeks. And right now he's doubtful on fantasy. So I have to drop somebody, take him off my IR, wait till he gets considered out again, just to throw him back in there. I'm going to have to do this dance for 4 weeks in a row.
Yep,
likely.
I totally agree. It's super fucked. Yeah, I totally get what you're saying.
Rant over. On to
next thing you hate to love to see, Pep's barely over 200 points through 2 games.
Ouch.
You hate to love to see it, but
love that it's not you.
You love that it's not you, and if we're considering all of us as individuals and all our individual tolerance for freakouts, Pebbles' freakouts are out there among the most amusing for the rest of us.
Sure, yeah, the tantrums that come with it.
Again, it's not over yet, Pebs. You got Robinson, and you can make some savvy moves.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you hate to love to see that you got barely 200 points. And then the last one.
That leads us into it, yeah. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, points against. Once again, Max is leading the league in points against. I think that this is maybe the 3rd year in a row with this title. I honestly think that we should put aside money and like reward the person that suffered the most points against through the regular season, because you're just kind of fucked, right? Like, what are you gonna do?
How much money would you reward?
I would be down to throw $10.
$10, like
times 12.
So
just like for the season, $120 gift to whoever just got ramrodded.
So if we were to do that, which I like the idea, that person would make more than the 3rd place finisher.
Hell yeah.
What if you get the most points scored against you, but you are the 3rd place finisher or the top 2 or 3? You're just
kudos.
Bringing in the dough. Okay.
And it would have to be done just through the regular season. Just a proposal.
Sure. Yeah, we can vote on it next draft weekend. I'll vote no because I hate change, but
you and O'Malley both. Yeah, it could be like, maybe it's not even a cash award. Maybe it's $120 spent on tequila or some sort of like massage parlor at your local.
That actually is pretty funny. It's like a gift. It's not just like a Venmo.
Yeah.
Here you go. It's like, here, why don't you go get a massage for all that stress you had to go on?
Yeah, all that suffering that Maxwell inevitably will endure again.
Do you remember the car ride where it was you, me, Max, and Kelly? She's driving us home from rounding 3rd. It was the semis of the league, and Max's team puts up a great score, but his opponent puts up
me.
Astronaut. It was you versus Max.
It was me versus Max. And Jordan Matthews had like this ridiculous 5 catches, 3 40-plus yard touchdowns. It was amazing. And we're at rounding 3rd, and he was just like rambling on and on, just like you did against the Karens that keep calling the cops on us. Just muttering under his breath, fantasy stupid, That was actually my year to win it all. Before I chunked it up at the end there. But yeah, I think Max put up like 144 and I put up like 168 or something ridiculous. And the other side of the matchup was a paltry like 98 versus 84 or something.
And then that person beat you in the finals?
And then that person beat me in the finals, yeah. Max would have won it all as well.
Yeah.
It was real tough.
He's cursed. Maybe he's the cursed one.
He was the one that has yet to do atonement for
atonement. Okay, moving on to bets. So the hashtag Bosa bet. What do you want to do?
Where are you at? I mean, technically, I lost already, right?
I think you lost.
Yeah.
Because if we're going about eligible games where they both played, which is one game, Big Bosa won. And if we even do 2 games, Bosa had a sack yesterday or Sunday. I don't know if Nick Bosa did or not.
How would you have felt if Baby Bosa had won week 1? Would you accept the L on the season-long bet?
I would not have.
I don't think you would have either. Yeah.
Because Joey Bosa can still play.
Yeah. I think I just take the L.
I'm happy to make it a wash and do something else or limit what the penalty is for you because it fucking sucks.
Ooh, this could be fun. I get you a nice bottle of whiskey, but you're only allowed to drink it
with
when
you?
I'm around. Yeah.
Deal.
Yeah,
Deal.
with me.
Okay.
All right.
So, just so everyone's realizing what happened, Joey Bosa won the Bosa bet 2 years in a row. Okay. Next, we got the Chicken Ranch Bill bet. Stu is 2-0, as is Bill, and Bill right now has the point advantage over Stu. So if the league were to end today because COVID goes rampant, Stu would be the one applying to the Santa Barbara Chicken Ranch.
Hell yeah.
Next bet, you all got a great video of this. Weaver got the water bucket dumped on his head because Brad destroyed bacon. How was that? Walk us through your day. Walk us through your lead up. So you went on a run beforehand.
Simply delightful. No, we gotta back it up too.
All right, back it up.
I'm doing date night with
Ashley.
This
is
good.
good.
Barbecue some nice hickory seasoned chicken with honey drizzled on it, with some asparagus, tons of garlic in the asparagus, and rice pilaf. Drinking a bottle of Pinot. We're outside. The weather's great. It's the sun's going down. It's starting to get cold. We both have sweaters on. Collin comes outside and puts the bucket on the beer diet table right next to where we're eating, and just looks at me, head tilted. The way Collin looks at you when he wants something from you. We almost threw him some spare change to get him away from our table, but yeah. So he wanted to do it last night when it was cold. I was like, obviously no. Let's do it when it's sunlight out. So yeah, today comes along, working away in my office. Collin opens my cracked door and just is staring at me for a moment before I noticed. It was really freaked me out. Yeah, caught me way off guard. Then we decide to do it after lunch because then we have somebody, Zones, that can film it. Went for a run to warm up. I was nice and chilly in my cave all morning. Went for a run, got the blood pumping. Got the bucket dumped on me. It was actually really, really nice cool down from the run. And I'm very interested in making this a weekly thing. We have a game of the week, matchup of the week.
That we split picks. Cool. Yeah, we'll get there in a little bit, but I like it.
Yeah, because that was a fun thing.
I envision me winning this bet just 4 weeks in a row, and it's every week, just you getting the bucket of water dumped on you. Yeah. After a few more weeks, you'll be like, all right, let's move on to something else.
Yeah.
But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
It's better than just buying you booze.
Okay, it is true. It mixes it up. New bet today that was made. So this week, Brad and I are matched up, the classic Buckaroo Bowl. So last year we bet on season finish, 100 smackers, and I won that one. This week, as it's regular season, Brad and I are betting on sweeping the back patio. So the loser of our matchup this week will sweep the back patio at the U. I will encourage you all to do more bets because they're really fun. Moving on, so great segment again, top group me comments. So first off, I want to apologize to Yadam. Last week, I miscredited him as being the one who posted the Jonathan Taylor Thomas GIF when it was in fact Stu. So Adam, my bad. I'll do better, I promise. So top group me comments by likes. Max with the absolutely unprecedented 11 likes on Thursday night for his come off comment when I said, come on, when Mixon was failing to get in the end zone, or maybe it was a boy drop, whatever it was. But 11 likes for the come off those are hard to come by. So kudos to you, Max.
Yeah, that was sick. I know. I threw my like in there. Who did he not collect?
Himself?
Himself?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I liked how Brad was like, if you get 11 likes, you can like your message to get the full 12. So next one with 8 likes, it was Pebbles, Get Mitch or Die Trying, deciding to donate against Republican races across the country after Ruth Bader Ginsburg's untimely death. So kudos to you, Pebs, for getting the ball rolling. That's cool of you to donate. So thanks for doing that.
Yeah.
And then last one with 9 likes was when, talking about Brian Edwards, O'Malley throws in the group me, Collin crawling back to Brian Edwards the same week he dropped him. 9 likes. So
that shit was funny.
It was good. So my favorite, by my opinion, again, all the drinking videos. Plus, I really liked O'Malley's commentary on Stu's when he was like, "You're shotgunning indoors," and Stu just says, "I'm a renter." That's fun. Good. And then Bacon's mystery beer that has no label, and he just says,
"What the hell?"
He says it looks dark right before he's gonna shotgun it. It's like the nightmare.
It could have been wine.
Yeah,
has anybody heard from him since then?
He took it down. He did great.
Also indoors.
And then I liked O'Malley's the Jizz in My Pants Andy Sandberg gif, which was directed also at me for Herbert starting. And then Adam's response gif, which was "The future is now, old man," from Dewey from Malcolm in the Middle. So I LOL'd with those. Good work, guys. So we're kind of running up on the clock here. Do you think we should do the more murky or less murky, or just cut this? This one.
Sponsorship picks. Call it a day.
Cool. Okay. Well, I actually do want to get into some waiver wire hints before we do that. This will be quick.
Hints.
Yeah, hints. So basically, when this pod comes to the ears of all you listeners, the waiver wire will be done. So 4 guys that I am not making any bids on, but who I have my eye on. I just want to throw out there for those early listeners, if they're still on the waiver wire, you're welcome. Traquan Smith, he went 5 receptions on 7 targets for 86 yards. Green Bay is their next opponent for the Saints. There's going to be a shootout. He benefited a lot from Michael Thomas going out. So if you're hurting for a receiver, if you're a Brad type, Traquan Smith is good to look at. Also mentioned Michael Pittman on the Colts with Campbell going down. He had 6 targets, 4 receptions. 37 receiving yards, but they play the Jets next week, who are terrible, so that could be a big play. Golden Tate on the Giants after Sterling Shepard going down and Saquon Barkley going down. They're probably going to be throwing more. Tate was 5 of 5 with 47 yards, and they're playing the Niners, the banged-up Niners defense next weekend, as we've talked about. Giants are going to be down in that game, so they're going to be throwing. And then last but not least, Devontae Freeman, signed by the Giants today. It's a committee. Honestly, I'm not really comfortable with any of them, but just to throw some news out there for you all, he's on that team now.
Making $3 million, making less money than he would have if he had signed in the offseason, but he just held out because he wanted a starting gig.
Pride. I mean, so Cam, I saw Cam Newton, a quote from him today. Basically said, "I have the money, and not why I play anymore. I'm playing for respect." It's possible that Freeman has a similar mindset.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So that brings us to our sponsor, People's Podcasts Week 2 recap, sponsored this week by the Home Depot Orange Bucket. Hey there, home improvers. The Home Depot wants you to know that they're with you during these trying times. Are you looking for a bucket that has utility coming out of its ass? Planning on washing your car, mopping a floor, soaking a turkey, or dumping a healthy amount of water on your housemate after a well-won bet? Perhaps you're even looking for a new cat carrier. Well, look no further than the Home Depot Orange Bucket. This bucket does it all and won't cost you a fortune. Available at a Home Depot near you. Again, sponsorships flying just constantly at us, and Home Depot gets the love this week as a very topical one.
I'd like to clear up the air also. Stu made a claim the People's Podcast is sponsoring a couple of best friends hanging out. That is false. That is fake news. Stu, get out of here. You can gargle your own mouthwash.
Yes, Stu and his podcast, they throw some slander our way a lot. But we are going to be like Michelle Obama and go high. So to Stu and his Champions podcast, we wish you luck in this season and your future podcasting. But the moment we've all been waiting for, picks for week 3.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll start with my matchup. So we got Collin against Brad. Now this could be the matchup of the week, as the Bush points right now are pretty identical, and both Brad and I are probably not going to be very active on the waiver wires as our teams have been doing well. You want to take this one?
I actually voted this as matchup of the week. You guys both won money, right?
Yeah, the 2 money
Brad,
winners.
Yeah, the 2 money winners. So this is the clash of the titans, so to speak. I'm actually taking Brad in this setup because he's getting Godwin back, Kamara. He has McKinnon just waiting in the depths. He's gonna win the tight end battle. Yeah, I'm happy with Brad. Cheering for him.
Okay, well, my logic. First of all, I'm taking myself because you got to bet on yourself.
Yep, standard.
Calvin Ridley is for sure going to outdo his projections. 2-touchdown Ridley. Panthers are going to be behind the Chargers in that game, so the game script will lean more towards more and the passing game. Now, Parker has the Q on him now, but he's been questionable in the last 2 weeks, and he's produced in the last 2 weeks. And now he's playing a Jacksonville defense that's, you can score on him. So I think Parker's going to do well. Mixon, definitely a question mark. I've been underwhelmed by him, but Miles Sanders came out in a big way. Yeah, and on Brad's side, we talked about his receivers. Hilton, who knows how he's going to do. I do like John Brown. Godwin is coming off the injury, and Denver is going to have Driscoll going, so it's possible that the Buccaneers start to run away with this one and the passing game goes away. Remember, Tom Brady had fewer than 10 points this past week. McKinnon, I think he's going to get some run, but he's not going to take the lion's share. They're going to have Jeff Wilson and somebody else off the street or the practice squad because he's someone coming off of a knee injury, and you're not going to throw someone like that who's missed a big chunk of time in the last 2 years to shouldering 20 carries.
Yeah. He had a breakaway run and clearly was gassed by 30 yards in.
Right. And yeah, Kelsey is playing Baltimore. It's a tough matchup. Fuller literally got Brad 0 points. So I don't know. I think this one is a toss up, and in that I'm taking myself.
Yeah. So water bucket bet?
Deal. Okay.
Throw it in there.
I like it. Put some more stakes on my own matchup.
Yeah. Your hubris will be your undoing. Yet again.
We'll see. Yeah, it's it's never good to lose to anybody, but I'll lose to Brad if I have to. But it's not going to happen. Okay, next we got the Pebs O'Malley matchup. So I'm just going to go out there and say it. I have Pebs beating O'Malley. Kyler Murray has been doing phenomenally, and they're playing Detroit, who has been destroyed in their past 2 games. I don't like Kupp against Buffalo, and Keenan Allen could have a negative game script in that game, as we just talked about the Chargers potentially being up on the Panthers for the majority of their contest. But I do like Robinson against Miami, and I think that a big boost that Pebbles can get is getting Kenny Galladay back this week. So if Pebbles slots in Galladay and is probably going to be active on the waiver wire again, I just have more faith in him than Stafford, who's put up 16 points in back-to-back weeks. Gaskin, who O'Malley currently has in his flex, it's a Miami running back, so it's definitely a crapshoot. And the Seattle defense against Dallas, who's put up 40. It was on Atlanta, but, Prescott's a gunslinger. So, I don't know. I think this one is actually closer than I made it seem, but in that, I'm going to take Pebbles over O'Malley's.
I'm going O'Malley's. I think that Evan Ingram is going to step up against San Francisco. I think that David Montgomery is going to feast in Atlanta. Dalvin Cook is going to feast against the Titans. Russell Gage, we've already talked about him a bunch. Stoked for him. I think, this is going to be a fun matchup, and I don't think that the lineup that we're seeing now is going to be the one that shows up on Sunday. I think both of these guys are going to be very aggressive on the waiver wire. So I'm hoping that O'Malley is more aggressive than Pebbles and can fill that flex spot and get rid of Gaskin.
There definitely are a lot of options. I mean, with all these injuries that have happened, there are a ton of available players out there that are going to be making an impact. Yet there's not as
many as there could have been if we had one less bench spot.
Moving on to the next matchup, we have Adam and Bako. Oh, that's not where it is. Well, after Bacon's lackluster performance this past week, I am picking Adam to win this one, although Bacon currently has the Bush lead. Goff's got to play Buffalo, which is a tough matchup. Sanders, we just saw last night, not produce at all in the absence of Michael Thomas, so I have no faith in him currently. We discussed how Henry is looking more like first half Henry than second half Henry. And then after that, it's just more question marks for Bacon, whereas Adam is throwing Big Ben in there against the Houston defense after seeing Wentz underperform the past few weeks. Now, again, this could change because he is playing Cincinnati, which is a tasty matchup. Devontae Adams is questionable at best currently for Adam, but he has AJ Green. He can slot in there, or Judge Judy if need be. I love me some Marvin Jones, and then I think Jacobs is more of the player we saw week one and less of the player we saw last night. Plus, Melvin Gordon now without Philip Lindsay there. I just have more faith in Adams' team.
I'm going Bacon.
Look at this.
Week one, Bacon boomed. And Adam right now has some serious question marks if Devontae Adams is going to play through the hamstring injury. They said that they took him out because they had a huge lead, but hamstring injuries are always so questionable. Josh Jacobs was limping. We all saw it happen. How much he can play through that's kind of gnarly. But more importantly, they're playing Bill Belichick. And David Johnson is playing Pittsburgh. And Melvin Gordon is playing Tampa Bay. So I'm betting against his running backs specifically because of the matchup. I know it doesn't always work with fantasy, right? Josh Jacobs still could, score 2 or 3 touchdowns, but that's what I'm going against, or betting against. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, those are some stout defenses, for sure.
And then Thielen and Tyreek Hill are 2 boom guys. Jared Goff has been playing really well. Yeah, I don't know. I'm betting on Bacon again. Will I be burned? I actually think that this is going to
fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
I think that this is a sneaky matchup for the lowest point total.
Interesting of the week.
Yeah.
Is it that sneaky? I guess Pebs and O'Malley could be another one. Although O'Malley just put up 130. I don't know. Bacon put up 88 points. That's a bad week.
88, and then Adam put up 96 or whatever.
That's true. That's very true.
They're kind of in it together. And, yeah, if Devontae Adams takes one wrong step during warm-ups or the first quarter, that could change the outcome of the whole match. He's going
to find the bench.
Yeah. But I do like his Zane Gonzalez play. That guy's Trabajo Gonzalez is crushing it. But is he going to be good enough to beat Justin Tucker?
Right.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Next matchup, we got SB Charkin Ranch versus Diamond Bill and the Jacks on, Jacks off. So in this one, I'm picking Bill over Stu after the fan mail from Diamond Bill and just the proof that's in the pudding of the last 2 weeks. I'm taking Bill. He's going to win the QB matchup with Jackson. That's going to be a great game on Monday night. Baltimore versus KC. But Stephon Diggs had a huge game with Josh Allen. Johnson on the Steelers is getting a crazy target share each week. 10 targets week 1, 13 targets week 2. Kenyon Drake, although has been a little bit lackluster, he's playing Detroit, and they've been ran over, as evidenced by Aaron Jones this past weekend. So I imagine Drake is going to do well. Eckler against Carolina. The Chargers running back situation is more split than you would think, but Eckler is getting all the passing situations as well as some drives of his own. So I think it's easy for Eckler to hit that projection. We talked about Gallup being the odd man out in Dallas, but Jonnu Smith, tight end from Tennessee, put up big numbers this past week with 2 touchdowns.
That was bullshit. It'll be interesting to see this tight end matchup, Jonnu Smith versus Darren Waller. I actually think that Jonnu Smith might take the edge on this one.
Yeah, and on Stu's side, we have Watson against that Pittsburgh defense we talked about. Watson just had a rough game against Baltimore. I expect something similar. And then Stu's receivers, got question marks on them. Robinson had a lackluster game. The Lizard put up 6 points. And then Chark, who was supposed to be the number 1 receiver in an offense that was going to be thrown a ton, has only put up 10 in back-to-back weeks. Now, 10 points is not a bad score, but, if you're trotting out Adrian Peterson as your RB2, who put up 4 points in the last week, and Stu's team also is reeling from the McCaffrey injury, this is probably another matchup where this is not going to be the final lineup because of waiver wires, but I'm still taking Diamond Bill. Who's your pick?
I'm also taking Diamond Bill. It's kind of you rarely see a 25-point spread with projected points, but I think that it is a good indicator of where these two teams are at right now. And I'm pretty annoyed with Bill's team because not only is his starting lineup is good, but he has replacements waiting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Stu feels comfortable with any of his replacements. Alexander Madison. You're just kind of hoping for a Dalvin Cook injury there, right? That's a handcuff.
Alexander Madison.
Yeah. A.J. Brown is actually dead, it turns out. Anthony Miller is who Stu thought he was before the draft.
Woof.
Yeah, big cliche. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see, if the waiver wire goes poorly for Stu, I wouldn't be surprised to see the double tight end play on Sunday. Because given Gallup's performance, Malcolm Brown, fuck that. I'm not trying to play Malcolm Brown.
Yeah, he can't play. Yeah, I'm sure Stu's
gonna make moves.
Make a move and then play someone it picks up. But
we're in
all right,
cahoots
so
on the Bill
we
pick.
both got Bill.
The fan mail. He's now a People Pod
favorite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So next, your matchup, we got Wilson Wilsoff.
Oh man.
And I've started a trend. I'm a fucking trendsetter. And Metcalf Shepard.
That's such a classic thing, right? Mix on, mix off. It was good. It wasn't worthy of the flaming that it got. And now because of Stu talking that shit, it's become a thing. And, yeah, congrats. Congrats. You started a movement.
My names are always great, so this is standard for me.
Your names are never great. You got a good one, and I'm proud of you for it.
So this matchup, how you feeling? You picking yourself? What's going on
here?
here?
I'm feeling this is rough. Max has. I hope that the trend of most points against continues for Max.
Mm-hmm.
I need another win. Max is looking for his first win of the season. It kind of helps that Russell Wilson, that I have DK Metcalf. I'm playing Russell Wilson, so hopefully all of the touchdowns go Metcalf's way, so we both go up together. I'm stoked to have Zeke still now potentially the best running back out there, besides maybe Kamara. At this point, Kamara's probably got the edge, definitely in terms of points scored, but big question mark for me is J.K. Dobbins, whether or not I play him. That should be a shootout. One thing that I have going for me is the Prince of Hilaire is playing Baltimore's stout defense. So Hopefully they can neutralize him. You never know what you're going to get with John Connor. This matchup is clearly going to come down to Monday night. There's a lot of players involved for that. I'm currently starting both Noah Fant and George Kittle. My bench is in shambles. But I'm going to bet on myself and hope for the best. Hope I get more out of Juju. Hopefully Matty Ice just blows up. That'd be huge if Matt Ryan can take the W over Russell Wussel. That'd be huge. But I think that the Seattle-Dallas game is going to be... I think Seattle's going to walk the Cowboys.
Yeah, I agree with that. Although, I'm taking Max in this matchup. But yeah, Frodo Dobbins situation, I don't know about it. I mean, you got Kittle in your lineup currently, but he is very questionable. Woods got to play Buffalo. It's a good defense. I think Juju will have a good week. But it's hard to bet against. I mean, Russell's going to put up some points, and I think Max's KC players had just a down week. I mean, Hilaire put up 10, and then he's actually not even playing. Currently, Watkins. Watkins got hurt too.
Watkins got hurt, yeah.
Oh, is that why? Wow. Well, I think the Prince of Hilaire is going to do better. He's going to rebound. I do have question marks about the SF defense. I mean, they're playing the Giants, who are not that great, and they just lost Saquon. But those dangerous guys up front are now not a thing, and Sherman is still on the IR. So we'll see how they do. Plus, we have Fournette in Max's lineup, who right now only has a projected point total of 8.41. But we saw he took the work in that last game, and like I said earlier in the podcast, I think the Buccaneers are going to run it up on Denver because they're going to have Driscoll playing. So I got Max. I think it's going to be another close one, but I'm taking Max in it.
Yeah. It's games like this that just really stress you out, you know?
They all stress you out.
I think we've both been scoring pretty well. This could be one of those neck and neck going into the final night.
Yeah, the Monday night game is always exciting. And you are... I mean, I was going to say two teams that need a win, but everyone needs a win.
Yeah. I tried to pull the Monday Miracle off this past week, throwing a shotgun on it. Everybody knows how much I hate shotgun.
I know.
And I was prepared.
At the halfway point, it looked like you were going to get there.
Yeah.
And then the Raiders just kept going.
False hope. Yeah, the Raiders. Fuck them.
So last matchup we got is the Evan versus Scott matchup. I like this one because it is the Hunt versus Chubb matchup.
Yes.
It's really cool. I mean, both players put up point totals in the 20s last week. There's been a story all offseason into this season how much work Hunt was going to take away from Chubb. Chubb currently has the 6-point Bush advantage. And Evan currently has the Bush advantage over Dak Prescott. So I have Evans winning. Mahomes had a great week last week. I think he'll continue with that. Same with Cooper. Evan has Edelman in the lineup after his big game. Him and Cam are continuing to create that chemistry. And then just the performances out of Chubb and Jones. And Robbie Anderson back in there. Whereas on Scott's side, Julio Jones, we talked about, he was looking a little slow in my eyes. Zach Moss, Buffalo, his usage is very hit or miss. 10 points week 1, 3.7 on Sunday. And then New Orleans defense, who we talked about on the pod last week as someone who potentially could be good. 17 points against Tampa Bay week 1, but only 4 points against the Raiders last night. And now they're going up against Green Bay, which is going to be a shootout. So in this one, I'm taking Evan over Scott.
Yeah, I'm also taking Evan. One thing that I think is scary to me is Julio Jones seems to have this tendency to go every other game.
Mm-hmm.
Blow up nothing. And so if that trend continues, he's going to score over 25 points this week. So that would be bad for Evan. I'm still choosing Evan because I'm obsessed with Evan's team.
Yep, you're the Evan Homer.
Yeah, especially with Michael Thomas out, that hurts. Another thing that hurts is Scott not being able to play Mark Ingram with confidence.
Right. Yeah, that situation is very murky.
Very murky. Gus Edwards out of nowhere.
Right. Yeah, I was going to mention it, but Edwards led in carries and yards in that offense of those 3 running backs.
It's fucked. It's lame. Gosh, I just need the season to progress and Jacob Dobbs to take over.
All right, so you're taking Evan. We have that one in agreement. So you and I are in agreement of 2 of 6, and the water bucket bet is on the Buckaroo Bowl.
The Buckaroo Bowl is the matchup of the week, certainly.
Nice. Any closing thoughts for this one?
I think it was another productive week for all of us. The chatter was great. We were all kind of commiserating the injuries, the injury apocalypse in the morning games. Yeah, happy week. Good luck to everybody except for Max this coming week.
Yeah, I want to say thanks to Kurt for the lead-in of the pod.
Hell yeah.
Again, we love to innovate, and you're a big part of that. And Bill, the fan mail, Diamond Bill, thanks so much. We look forward to hearing from you again and all you other listeners because, as always, this is the People's Podcast.
Later.